Lights, camera, action!
When a script is written that is so bad, no one will film it. These brave podcasters will bring it to life just so they can mock it. This is Table Reads.
So the movie's kaput, which means your script ain't worth the buffalo shit on a nickel.
Table Reads with Sean McBee, Jeff Lewis, and Joshua Baker.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 108 of Table Reads. We're doing Lord of the Rings by John Boorman, Part 9. This is our first Part 9 ever in the entirety of this podcast.
You're welcome, everyone.
Lord of the Rings, Part 9.
This is so much.
Everybody says these scripts are so bad, but Sean, we want more episodes. Read more bad things to us. And you said, here, I'll give you some.
The audience has spoken.
That's it.
Well, yes.
We are all
and
in the frame.
here we are. We're doing this.
Oh wow, that is a legit.
That's a lot.
That's a legit wide angle.
Oh
lens,
yeah,
dude.
on
That's
our
dope.
YouTube channel, if you guys are there, I got a super wide angle lens that I usually use for my 3D printer, so I can see what's going on the printer. But I haven't printed anything in a while, so I just steal it.
Yeah.
Just steal it.
He's
using
taking our
it
likenesses.
so we can fit all of us in here better. So, let's discuss where we've been so far on our almost record-breaking 8 episodes.
Previously on Table Reads.
So we got to part 8, where most scripts are usually finishing. And things finally started moving. Sam and Frodo made it into Mordor by carrying bushes and hiding behind them when anyone looks their way. You know, like a cartoon. Then we get a montage of Aragorn gathering forces to fight orcs, including a ghost army that has never been mentioned before and is never explained, though Jeff loves it.
The no explanation ghost army.
As well as dwarves rising up out of the ground fairly randomly. And don't forget Gandalf. With a Nazgul on his heels, he has to convince Denethor, the steward of Gondor, to open the gates, which requires men to run on treadmills. You know, like a cartoon.
Efficiently. The fittest kingdom in the nation.
When we left off, Sam had taken up the burden of Ringbearer because he thought Frodo dead after their encounter with Shelob, the larger-than-average spider. But once some orcs bleed into Frodo's mouth, he is revealed to be alive. And now both hobbits are at the mercy of their orc captors.
Fade in.
Blood play.
I like how y'all give me shit about liking Ghost Army, and in the same paragraph you're like, larger than normal spider.
I phrased it that way because of you, Jeff.
Bunch of spider
Because
apologists
of
in
all
here.
your complaints.
What do you have against spiders, huh?
That's larger than your normal spider.
You're just mad you don't have 8 legs.
It's like one of them Australian spiders. Any of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, never mind. Keep going.
Exterior. Inner circle of walls. Minas Tirith. Night. Denethor and Pippin stroll along the top of the wall in a leisurely promenade. Pippin is dressed as a court jester with cap and bells. The clothes do not fit too well and are blood-stained and full of arrow holes, suggesting the fate of his predecessor. Burning arrows and globules of fire fly over their heads. Pippin desperately tries to conceal his terror. Men and women are engaged in furious combat, repelling the orcs who are scaling the walls with ladders. The men throw back against the orcs as their own globules of fire and are furiously ripping apart the damaged battlements to use the stones as projectiles. Beyond the inner circle is the outer wall with the great breach in it. The houses and the cultivated land between the two walls is laid in ruin and flames. Orcs are swarming everywhere. The inner city is now under siege. Globules of fire rain onto the houses. Many fires are blazing. Oh, 1 second. keep forgetting to turn on the script for those watching on YouTube. And it's not working. What's going on? There we go.
There it is.
Yay.
Bye, Jeff.
We did. Oh, there we
You're
go.
obscured,
I'm hidden by art.
so you can do stuff.
You can, like, read the script, like...
Was it? Oh, I picked up your glasses. We're like, here you go.
No!
We're here, guys.
Now I could see.
Ignore where he pointed. I'm sure that wasn't right. I didn't even see, but I'm sure it was
I've
not
ruined
right.
the show. What if it was right? What if?
On one side of Denethor, the sounds of a panicking populace. On the other, your Denethor. Yes,
Who's Pippin?
I'm Pippin.
Okay.
I'm married.
I forgot which one of those I was.
Well,
Oh, I'm Sam. Yeah, okay, never mind. I remember now.
Mute that whole
On the other, the beastly howls of the orcs. He is oblivious to both, and his crazed gaze is cast down at Pippin. Denethor's arm is around the hobbit's shoulder in a fatherly grasp. Honest Lord Denethor, the hobbit songs are not fit for these times. We sing of nothing more terrible than thunder and rain. These holes. Pippin indicates his costume. Denethor laughs.
My poor jester. He caught a few stray arrows fighting at my side. But that was before I heard the blast of Boromir's horn drifting on the wind. That was when I still believed in slaying. Now, perhaps, I believe in being slain. Now tell me of Boromir. Did he fare well with Lady Galadriel?
Oh, man. Pippin is about to tell a lie, but he cannot. Yes, no. I fear it was a halfling that she chose.
Oh, shit.
Denethor breaks into mad laughter, which is full of despair. Oh.
A halfling!
Pippin turns and sees Gandalf on Shadowfax galloping along the top of the wall. He rides past them. A few exhausted soldiers find the energy to cheer. Gandalf is...
Yeah! Clang.
He's doing so good.
Gandalf is galloping towards a point where orcs with flaming torches are scaling the wall. Soldiers flee, their clothes on fire. The orcs take mouthfuls from drinking skins and squirt the liquid out over the torches, and from the mouths of some of the orcs, spurting flames issue. Gandalf leaps from Shadowfax and engages the flame-spitting orcs, toppling many from the wall. You know, John Boorman, saw some fire eaters at a carnival of some kind.
This is a rad idea, though. I've never seen it done in, a battle. In, this type of battle. Wouldn't it be rad if the orcs actually blew fire onto mounted cavalrymen because they don't have horses?
But they had to do, the dance moves first.
Yeah, I don't know if it's...
Whoosh!
How effective would that be against a warhorse? I wonder.
I don't think it'd be effective at all. Because I think basically when you spit out your accelerant, that it's turning into a mist in the air, and that big flame is just that all dissipating. I don't think it's good for an offensive measure.
Would it be,
But
be
it would
better
look
than an
cool
axe,
on
though?
screen, granted.
Right?
You could dip your fucking sword in it, and that'd be cooler.
No, I mean,
We've seen flaming swords all over.
yeah,
the
we've seen
place.
that,
We've
but I
seen
mean,
fucking spiders in this. You got...
it's never about the
I'm sorry, I
spider,
need to
Jeff.
fucking
Come on.
stop fucking around with the spiders.
All right. I think we need to do a MythBusters episode.
Let's do it. I have Adam Savage's email.
I need lots of tiki torch fluid. Spitting on horses and shit.
It'd be a fake horse. It'd be a fake horse.
This is a fake horse in Sean's front yard. Just three dudes that are spitting on.
Neighbors are driving by
I guarantee
What
you.
the fuck is happening?
I guarantee you that's not on YouTube.
It's probably at some art installation somewhere. 3 dudes spitting fire on a horse.
We're gonna make it and sell it for $1 million.
Banana taped to a wall. 3 dudes spitting on a horse.
3 dudes, 1 horse.
That's on the internet.
Where the fuck are we, you guys? Jesus.
You're,
Gandalf leaps from Shadowfax.
yeah, you were leaping. 136?
Yeah, I know the page.
Second paragraph.
Gandalf leaps from Shadowfax and engages the flame-spitting orcs, toppling many from the wall. Shadowfax rears, kicks, and neighs at the orcs. The soldiers are encouraged and rally to Gandalf's aid. Denethor and Pippin stroll along the wall towards Gandalf. Gandalf is leaning against the battlements in a state of utter exhaustion. The orcs have been repulsed. He looks like a frail and beaten old man. He hears Pippin's voice and Denethor's demented laughter. With an effort, he pulls himself together. Denethor is waving a finger at him.
So the One Ring has been found.
Pippin looks guiltily at Gandalf.
To send it with a witless halfling into the hands of the enemy himself, as you have done, that is madness. To Boromir it should have been entrusted.
To Boromir it should have been entrusted. Is there hope for Frodo?
Never there was much, Pippin. Just a fool's hope. And you, Denethor, tempt me not with madness. Madness would be a great comfort to me. Boromir died well. Be content.
You know, people should tell that to grieving parents more often.
He
Timmy died well.
He did.
Be content.
Just stop
He
crying.
stabbed the nurse.
Die well, man.
They exchange looks in silence. A curious lull overtakes them. The air rings with cries of despair and panic and the howls of orcs. The tumbling pall of smoke and cloud hangs over them, now reddened by the blazing fires of Minas Tirith. A cock crows far off, startling Pippin from this moment of stillness. By the way, speaking of cocks crowing, one of my fucking neighbors has got a rooster now in this residential neighborhood that is waking us up every fucking morning.
It won't after we do the fucking spitting thing.
I posted on Nextdoor about it, and some bitch chimes in. That's what roosters do, Sean. Maybe you should get a white noise machine.
That is what roasters do.
That's my favorite thing. Why do you have a rooster? It's crowing. That's what they do.
Oh, dude, that could be a whole bit we do. We just read next door comments.
Oh my god.
That's what roosters do, Sean.
Or the posts in general. They're usually things like, there was a black guy with a hoodie walking through my neighborhood in Atlanta.
Atlanta. What are they doing here? Why don't they have homes and stuff to go to?
Keep your eyes open, people.
I got an attack chicken for this purpose.
An attack cock.
An attack. That's what they do, Sean.
A cock crows. Can a crow cock? A croc crow? I don't know.
I'm on the neighbor thing, but it's just one post, and it was a guy asking which was the better urgent care to go to. That's all it is. Mine's boring.
No, mine has that same shit, Sean. Same stuff.
Well, y'all bring y'all's in then.
I actually
Y'all
had
read that
police
shit.
come into my yard the other day. And
Oh?
they were like, yeah, there's somebody prowling around in your yard. And I'm like, excuse me?
Oh yeah, there's like a pervert or something like watching.
I don't know. They said it was somebody in a hoodie walking around saying that they're trying to snatch kids or something.
Same
It's just
guy.
Some lady like fucking around.
That's great.
Yeah.
He hitched a ride here to Sean's neighborhood on
Let's-
your car.
After this episode, let's discuss our next door podcast.
Yeah. Edit all that out, Sean.
Don't steal our ideas, people.
Keep reading.
Okay. Sorry. A cock crows far off, startling Pippin from this moment of stillness. A cock crows. What omen is that? Sunrise.
Breakfast.
Sunrise. That's what that omen is, you fucking idiot.
It's what they do, Pippin!
Maybe I should get a white noise machine.
Gotta get back on the treadmill.
Make a new song for the hobbits.
Denethor and Gandalf, despite their private agonies, laugh at the hobbit's inconsequential remark. Pippin is embarrassed. You fucking should be, you idiot.
Beyond this world of gloom, the sun is rising.
Oh, wow.
That's exactly what I said! They scan the distant horizon, looking for hope. And instead of the cock crowing, a distant horn... This script does have a lot of cock.
That's true.
Even before now,
That's true.
there's been a lot.
Did he smash?
And instead of the cock crowing, a distant horn is heard. Gandalf turns to look across the Pellenor Fields.
The Riders of Rohan!
Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do?
Oh,
What you
shit,
gonna
the
do
Riders
with
of
a bad
Rohan!
boy, you-
12!
Dip, dip, dip. Go, son.
Couldn't resist.
That's good.
Bad boys for life.
Exterior, the fields of Pelennor. Day/gloom. A great wave of the riders of Rohan gallops across the plain, Theoden at their head. The rider next to Theoden is blowing a long, melodious line on his horn.
That soundboard getting some fucking work today.
Eomer is leading another host of riders. A horn cries out in answer to the
Do it
other.
again.
We had these queued up. We just knew
He
the
didn't
riders.
discuss- he didn't discuss this with anybody. He said 2 weeks. He's read the rest of the script like 4 times.
I just have those all, like always, right in this row.
Shut up, Jeff. It's not time for you to make that joke yet.
The horn next to Theoden signals again. We've had enough.
Wait, no.
And
Come
all the riders break from a fast gallop into a synchronized parade-like canter. Their lances are at the ready, swords are drawn, their armor glitters. From a distance, they present thousands of points of light, shimmering and moving. They ride on at a regular, if not sinister canter towards the breach in the outer walls of Minas Tirith.
Regular, if not sinister.
Regular, if not sinister. What is a
Help me with
sinister
this.
canter?
Yeah, but
So like the horses go. That's just for our video audience.
from the side, you look like Beyonce from the Single Ladies music video.
Oh, the riders Rohan.
What?
I mean, you do a
what's
sinister
a sinister-
canter.
I asked the question. You guys have to.
Cantering with 3 feet and twirling his sinister horse stash.
The number one
That's
rule of
gotta be it.
improv is yes and so far, I asked the questions.
If you want to know what a sinister canter looks like, look up a Beyonce video, and you'll see the answer.
Yeah, there you go.
Apparently,
This is incredible.
That's the name of our new band.
We're just,
sinister canter.
Sinister Canter.
can we add Beyonce's Sinister Canter to it? For the kids.
Exterior wall, inner wall. Exterior inner walls. Day/gloom.
Inside the inner wall.
Inside the outside.
There are mice talking.
Hello, I am in the outdoors.
The soldiers of the Minas Tirith, yeah. The soldiers of the Minas Tirith cheer wildly from the battlements as they watch Theoden's force of cavalry galloping towards the breach and orcs fleeing before them. They also say Eomer's men, charging towards the distant concentration of Mordor forces, cutting in behind them. High on the battlements, Gandalf stands, waving his sword.
Men of Minas Tirith, to the breach!
He jumps over the battlements onto an orc, scaling a ladder. His feet crash through the rungs as he plunges into the orcs. He directs the fall of the 2 poles of the ladder onto the terrified orcs. Sword in hand, he flings himself at them. The soldiers, dazzled by his example and encouraged by the arrival of the riders of Rohan, fling themselves after him with renewed vigor and swarm down upon the orcs. Exterior, the square inside the gates, Minas Tirith, day gloom. Cries of joy run like waves across the city. The doors which give on to the great square of Minas Tirith are flung open. The people of Minas Tirith flood the square. The main gate is open. The people pour out, exultant, light-headed from the rigors and privations of the long siege. Civilians and women, as well as soldiers, swell the ranks bearing any kind of weapon that comes to hand. They are ragged and dirty. Their fires have blackened their faces. The soldiers have not shaved for days. Many of them are weak from lack of food. It is an undisciplined rabble that empties out of the garrison city onto the Pellenor Fields. The orcs flee before this crazy onslaught. Oh, they haven't shaven! Run!
They smell bad.
Exterior, outside the breach, day gloom. Theoden and his men charge the breach. The orcs retreat in front of them, rushing in all directions, piling up against each other in increasing numbers. Orcs are pouring out of the breach, driven back by Gandalf and his followers. Behind them, other orcs stumble over each other as Theoden presses them back into a solid wall of quarreling, swarming, hysterical orcs. The orcs in front, prodded by those behind, leap out at the riders in manic sorties. The orcs pile up in front of them, and the riders are brought to a halt. Exterior, Pellenor Fields, day gloom. Meanwhile, Eomer's company sweeps in a wide arc, cutting a path through orc encampments and then driving in towards the breach from another angle. Eomer uses the open spaces to keep up his pace, turning and charging in zigzags. Exterior, outside the... Shut up, Siri.
Ooh.
Okay, so on my watch, there was like a whole paragraph written out that she had been getting dictated to her accidentally all that time. You fucking
It'd be funny if she's like,
bitch.
oh, the John Boorman script. I have emailed it to you.
I let your agents know.
Exterior, outside the breach, day gloom. Theoden's men have now dismounted and turned their horses so that their rears face into the orcs. The hindquarters of their horses are armored. They walk backwards, kicking their hooves.
That's kind of cool.
No, it isn't.
Why not?
Picture it. Close your eyes, Jeff.
Yeah.
Picture horses walking backwards, kicking.
But they're against the wall. They got the orcs against the wall, and they're like, jab, 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 and they can't get to them. So they're like, fuck it, turn the horse around. They're just drop kicking all the fuckers in the head.
Play a funny song.
That's not Benny Hill. Bow. DJ Sean, you're in the horse kickers.
The horse kickers.
I gotta take that off when we do a period piece like this. It really worked for like Batman versus Superman. Not so much for this script.
Nah, keep it on there. Let us do John Adams, and then we'll get rid of it after John Adams.
John Adams?
Get the script.
We have a script for John Adams? No one told me.
What are we talking about?
Yes, and it is a good script that we will do.
See,
because
he knows improv. Yes, and.
All right. Kicking their hooves. Between the horses, the riders thrust their lances. Only Theoden and his captains remain mounted, directing their troops. From inside the wall of orcs, mounted Uruks emerge. Uruk captain, armed with a lance, breaks through the line of horses. Theoden starts off towards him. The king hurls his sword at the Uruk rider. The sword whirls through the air and flies into the Uruk. He falls to the ground, but rises again. the sword sticking out of his chest. He wails painfully and staggers away. The wall of orcs opens up and reabsorbs him. The cheers of the riders mix with the agonized wail of the Uruk. Exterior, Pellenor Fields, day gloom. So much reading. So much reading. The wail of the Uruk is answered and echoed with increasing hysterical intensity by swarming bands of orcs and trolls deployed all over the Pellenor Fields. Responding to the cry, the Nazgul appears, galloping madly across the plain on his skinned horse. Exterior, outside the breach, day gloom. Armed with a quivering lance, the Nazgul charges towards the rear of the wall of orcs, emitting a terrifying vibrato wail. The orcs open up, and he thunders between them, galloping directly at Theoden. At the sudden apparition of the Nazgul, the horses of the riders of Rohan go berserk. They rear and bolt away. Among the riders there is confusion and panic. Theoden bravely spurs his horse towards the Nazgul. His sword is gone. He draws a pathetically small dagger which he waves at his foe. The Nazgul's lance pierces Theoden's chest and passes through his back. He is jousted to the ground, landing on his feet. Speaking of jousting, I'm going to medieval times for the first time ever this weekend for my birthday.
Hey!
It's fun as hell. I
Pick
love
the
it.
green one.
The Green Rider.
The green right.
I'm really excited. I've always wanted to go.
It's super cool.
I've never
You'll
been
love it.
either.
You'll love it.
Speaking of jousting.
Yeah. See, I totally threw us off. It's my fault.
Yes.
You guys should fire me as co-host.
What the fuck?
No, you got too much reading to do.
Come over to my house every week.
all
Get
that.
out of your own office.
Do that
We're
heavy-
doing the podcast.
Do the heavy lifting.
Fucking Sean just invites us over to his house to read to us.
It's story time.
Tell us about the Nazgul again, Mr. Sean.
He is jousted to the ground, landing on his feet. Grasping the long lance, he pivots around, swinging the end of the lance into the hind legs of the Nazgul's horse. The horse stumbles and Nazgul is thrown to the ground. He gets to his feet and, drawing his sword, moves toward Theoden's body, which is now sprawled out on the ground, the great lance impaled in his chest. One of the riders spurs his horse up to Theoden. Mary is sitting before him on the saddle. The Nazgul jeers and wails. The horse rears in fear. The rider jumps to the ground while Mary topples off. The rider confronts the Nazgul, who advances menacingly. The rider who's the rider?
Was it me?
Doesn't say.
I mean, who wants to be the rider?
I don't know. I'll be the writer.
Okay.
I'll say Mary.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. The rider confronts the Nazgul, who advances menacingly. The rider calls out in a voice trembling with emotion. Mary is terrified, but manages to draw his blade.
Begone, foul lord of carrion! Leave the dead in peace!
The rider charges the Nazgul. The Nazgul strikes a mighty blow. The sword arm of the rider drops in agony.
Oh, shit.
Mary jumps recklessly at the Nazgul, who slashes at him with his sword. Mary gets under the blow, which just catches his thigh, cutting deep. Mary is right against the Nazgul and thrusts his dagger into the Nazgul's knee, in a joint in his armor. Meanwhile, the rider, dropping his sword, catches it with the other hand and drives it at the Nazgul, lunging the sword into him. Wait,
It's got to be Aragorn.
hold on. This is
Yeah.
like the Arya move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Damn. It's like been in things a lot recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But 1970? I never saw that shit in 1970. That's awesome. John Boorman gets props for that.
They did. He called it. Maybe George R. R. Martin read this script.
You know, it is a strikingly similar type.
Mm.
Mhm,
Like dark, evil, bad guy, right? Like,
Also, J.R.R. Tolkien, George R.R. Martin.
What?
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
From the famous RR lineage.
Arr, arr, arr.
They got their money from the railroads, you see.
Do not pass go.
You shall not pass go!
Leave your $200.
Lord of Monopoly.
Hey, you know that exists somewhere.
Monopoly of the Rings.
Kickstarter.
Blah, blah, blah. Where is this sword dropping?
Wait a minute. One ring to rule them all is great. Lord of the Rings Monopoly fodder.
Yeah,
It is.
no, that makes sense.
The Nazgul shudders with convulsions. He crashes to the ground, breaking into the components of his empty armor, from which dark fumes rise. The Nazgul's horse has risen from the ground and gallops in berserk circles. It comes up to the fuming remnants of the Nazgul, picks up the empty helmet in its mouth, and heads off towards Mordor. That's weird.
It is weird.
Dibs.
Okay, one thing I can say I've never seen in a movie: horse picking up its dead master's helmet and trotting away.
This is a cartoon for sure.
That's really good.
Merry and the rider have fallen to the ground, lifeless. Gandalf, followed by the men of Minas Tirith, is fighting his way towards the breach from the other side of the wall. Orcs pour out, only to be confronted by the riders of Rohan, whose captains have rallied their men and formed a circle of horsemen with the kicking rear of horses facing the enemy.
Ah,
We shall fight them with horses' asses!
take that, disrespect.
This is what you get for calling me a horse's ass.
Theoden is dying. Above him stands the horn-bearer, blowing a plaintive dirge. It's a little early, like he's not dead yet. Save the dirges till he's dead.
It's a Nickelback song.
Meanwhile, he's down there going, I'm not dead yet.
Yeah, he's like crawling towards the thing. They're like, oh, that's so sad.
He's playing taps.
Just
Yeah,
help
it's
me.
like taps.
Sad Hulk music.
Yeah, walking away.
Merry, wounded and dazed, looks across at the rider, his companion. The face is deadly white. The eyes are glazed. The rider's helmet is dislodged, and locks of hair show through. Merry crawls over to the rider and removes the helmet. Long blonde hair cascades out. It is Éowyn, daughter of Theoden.
I should have guessed.
Merry sobs and cries like a bitch. His head sways as if he is about to faint. The wound on his thigh darkens. He begins to undress her cold, stiff body.
Yeah.
What? Removing the thick leather armor. Her beautiful body is revealed. A terrible wound disfigures. I cannot read this.
The horn guy's not going like playing like porn music and shit.
No.
The riders cry out
What do you
in
mean
wonder
no?
and despair at the sight of Éowyn. At her naked body, you mean?
It didn't say naked. It just said it's taking her armor
Her
off.
beautiful body is revealed.
Removing the thick leather
Maybe she
armor.
has like a nice thin layer of I don't know, something that's not leather.
Someone read the rider line.
It is our Lady Éowyn. She rode in disguise with a hero halfling.
At this, Merry looks up. His head sways. He slumps to the ground. His consciousness fades.
See to the lady.
A rider begins to clean Merry's darkening wound, but the other riders are too much in awe to approach Éowyn. The last glimmer of life drains out of Theoden. The hornblower blows the same plaintive dirge. Oh! Encore!
It reminds me of that Reddit, that, like, why were they filming? Like, why was he horning? Like, It's his job to just like look at the battle and like play whatever's happening. Like,
Oh, he's like the guitar guy from Mad Max.
yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
is he now playing the Jurassic Park theme? Jeff?
No,
Is that what's going
you gotta let it get to the sad Hulk part.
That's Sad Hulk?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck he's playing.
Play sad Hulk. Where's my phone? Oh, it's in front of me.
He didn't give us input, so he can't like input anything over here.
I got a microphone right here.
I'll call in. I bet that board has a USB. I could call on my phone and be like, "We have a caller," and I'd play Sad Hulk.
I got him.
The last glimmer of life dreams. Oh yeah, same plane of dirge. Okay. Over the mounds of rubble at the breach, Gandalf and his followers appear. Some of the riders cheer, but are barely heard over the sorrowful cries of their companions, the howling of the orcs, and the moaning of the wounded. Gandalf, followed by Denethor and Pippin, walks into the circle of riders. Denethor drags the crown behind him, hanging on a leash from his belt. So weird. Pippin runs to Merry's side. Gandalf kneels beside Theoden and gently lifts up the king's head, caressing his brow. Froth bubbles at his mouth. His face is gray. Above the horn call, Denethor's crazy ranting is heard.
Our blood is rotting and we fall into a deeper dream of terror. The Dark Lord will snatch our bodies and we shall linger at the edge of life and become his accursed race. Gandalf! Surely you can heal us of the Black Shadow.
He lies down beside Theoden and grotesquely goes through the motions of dying, although he has suffered no wound. What the fuck?
Just making fun of him. Like,
I'm dying too.
Hey, look, I'm you.
It sucks to be dead.
Boo! Gandalf does not answer Denethor's provocation.
No class.
The distant din of high-pitched bugle calls has caught his attention. He rushes off, drawing his sword, his cloak billowing. The hornblower continues his dirge of distress. Merry's eyes half open. He sees Pippin and smiles. He talks as if in a daze.
Hello, Pippin. Oh, my hero.
And I am a jester, Merry.
Heroes and jesters are equals in the Shire, aren't they? We shouldn't forget the dear old Shire.
Table Reads will return after this brief word from our sponsors.
What's up, docs and docettes? Trevor Thompson, the self-appointed Looney Tunes critic here, and if you like old cartoons and watching online reviewers dissect them, then you probably said the same thing I did about 2 years ago. Hey, what the fuck?
Here, watch your language, bud.
Every Saturday morning, I do a brand new commentary of a Warner Brothers short. All throughout the month, I do video essays examining the history of these cartoons. Catch my videos on youtube.com/FerrisWheelhouse2, or just use the hashtag Looney Tunes Critic. And now, here's Eric Bauza, the new voice of Bugs Bunny.
You've been listening to the Looney Tunes critic. Ain't he a stinker?
Lights, camera, action.
So the movie's kaput, which means your script ain't worth the buffalo shit on a nickel.
Now, back to Table Reads.
All right, halfway through this episode, and you guys have had like a line each.
Yeah, we're doing really good.
Yeah.
Going
That's what
for it.
happens when you get to the big battle scenes. It's
Right.
just like, Sean, 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 Sean.
Well, it depends on what script it is, because in Gladiator, the battle scenes were like, they attack. He has won the day.
That's true,
Talks
yes.
to his son.
Wow, Nick Cave is not good at writing battles.
He killed 7 horsemen with 12 strikes.
There were 12 trees there.
All 18 kids wept.
Conversely, you have like the baseball scene in Shazam, which I don't know if you listened to that one,
I
Jeff, because
did,
you weren't
I
on
did,
it.
I did.
But the baseball scene went on, I think, a whole episode.
It was
Yeah.
long. Yeah.
It was like the metaphor in Paradise by the Dashboard Light. It was just sex.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
just sex
yeah.
over and over again.
Like it literally got to the point where like my brain started like just dumping endorphins into my body because it thought that I was dying from
Holy
the
shit.
monotonous repetition. Like you know when you go on a long road trip and you get that road hypnosis from the
Yeah.
the yellow line
Yeah,
at night,
yeah.
just and that's all you can see. It was that.
Oh my god.
But from like cut two, the baseball goes at the cut two. Oh god, it was terrible. It was like the
That's
worst thing I've ever done in my life.
See, that's behind the scenes stuff because that was when I was still just a fan.
Yes.
You missed.
Before Josh saddled me with you.
Yeah.
That's
sorry.
true. I watched
bad.
that movie with you guys. That's for a different
That's
podcast.
true!
Oh,
Ooh.
it was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
great movie.
Fade in.
Exterior. Outside the gates of Minas Tirith and Pellenor Fields. Day gloom. Day gloom.
Day gloom.
Shrill, piercing bugle calls, obsessively repeated, announce the advance of a great horde of orcs who come pouring over the knolls. The orcs that were fleeing before the citizens of Minas Tirith turn about and join their fellows in thrusting towards the wall. Great troll orcs whip the air with red banners bearing the black evil eye. Orc trumpeteers precede the implacable onslaught, writhing frantically to squeeze out every ounce of breath into each trumpet blast.
They're just trying so hard. For the country.
I do envision like the Mad Max scene with the guitarist. Like,
I feel like one orc is up there, like, because it makes it seem like he's like playing his heart out. Like, this is for my brother.
yeah.
I like to think of that from like a reality perspective. Like, at what point do these guys go like, all right, so we got our trucks tricked out with weapons. Have we thought of a stage with like pyrotechnics and big speakers, and Bill, he can get out there and sing his hit song "Witness."
Witness me, witness you.
Yeah, that's why they're like when they spray their mouths and they yell "Witness," they're all just big fans of that band.
That's right.
They're like the post-apocalyptic juggalos,
I gotta watch it.
and that
now.
silver spray is Fago.
That's what. Oh my god, he knows so much about juggalos.
Oh, my little sister was a juggalo.
Oh no.
Wow, this is breaking news. Hold on a minute. Stop the music.
My little sister is also a meth head,
Oh,
but
yikes.
being a juggalo is much more embarrassing to me.
I was only surprised by one of the things.
And my
that you
brother
said.
is a Trump supporter, so that's far more embarrassing than any of the rest of it.
We're learning so much
This
today,
is
Jeff.
so much about it out of nowhere. I'm glad I stopped this for the bit.
Guys, not to get too much into my personal life, but over the Christmas break, I met my father for the first time in my life.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
And this guy took it upon himself in our brief meeting his son for the first time since I was 2. One topic of conversation was how taking in Cuban refugees in the 1970s is the reason we have AIDS.
what the fuck?
A philosopher he is.
Philosopher he is.
So yeah, my family is just real fucked up, like top to
Wow.
bottom.
That's incredible. I'm
Wow.
coming to your next family.
We can share some stories later, man. Holy shit.
I mean, I've had like I got Trump supporters and
Man.
and meth heads, but nothing as bad as a juggalo. You got me beat.
I don't know if she still is, but she had like some ICP tattoos on her wrists.
When you're in, man. You don't get out of that. That's not the Yakuza music.
Oh, fuck me. Okay, let's read this thing.
I love what just happened.
An orc trumpeter is struck by arrows. Blood gushes out of the trumpet and rains upon the orcs.
Awesome. That's metal as fuck.
This whips them into a lustful frenzy. They break into a run.
Curing all of them of their spider wounds.
They all get hard-ons.
The whole horde of orcs, a massive front, is running towards the walls. At this sight, the soldiers and citizens are suddenly sobered from their sword-happy interlude. They flee towards the gates. The gates are jammed by the citizens who are now seized by panic. The guards of the gate attempt to organize an orderly retreat. The great horde of orcs squashes the people against the wall, reducing them to a confused phalanx, 6 to 8 men deep, which extends from the breach to well beyond the gates. The onslaught of the orcs is murderous. The people in the back of the phalanx are squashed and battered against the wall, and trampled and suffocated. But the first rows put up a furious fight against the orcs. The first fighting line of the phalanx of Minas Tirith is made up of a chaotic succession of regular soldiers such as archers, pikemen, and swordsmen, and sections of the populace of Minas Tirith. Along these are the bee cultivators, dressed entirely in leather, with wicker masks and bees swarming around their gloved hands. Hold on.
What?
Bees! Are there beekeepers carrying out beehives and being like, take that!
Like bee man.
The bee cultivators. Yeah, but they're uniformed. They're dressed entirely in leather with wicker. There's like a bee squad. Like,
Yeah.
this is incredible.
This is getting pretty rad.
Blacksmiths with leather aprons and long-handled hammers. Farmers with an array of pitchforks and spikes. What do farmers use spikes for? I mean, I know they got pitchforks for the hay, right? But spikes? Oh, I just happen to have some spikes around in my barn.
This is
It gets better.
This gets so good.
Women, some pregnant, some nursing,
Oh God, they got the babies.
clad in armor improvised from kitchenware.
Spray him with the titty.
Because they're women.
The people have hoisted impoverished, colorful banners, while the soldiers fly their regular flags.
Oh, thank God all the fucking townspeople spent time getting together a ragtag group of banners.
Wait, did I say impoverished? I meant improvised.
You did say
Pardon
impoverished,
me.
but
They both work, kind of.
they do work. That's why they're both equally shitty.
There is a man in a hoodie in the background prowling about.
They could have been out helping. Like, instead of painting, they're like, wait, no, the poster's not done.
Have hoisted improvised, colorful banners, while the soldiers fly their regular flags. The children, the old, and the infirm are on the walls, hurtling down pieces of the battlements onto the orcs. That's the wall! The battlement is the wall. You're throwing the wall that protects you at the people attacking you. That can only go so far.
Take this shit.
At some point, that tactic will backfire on you. When the orcs are coming up and you're going like, and they're stepping over the wall, you realize you've made a serious tactical
Your
error.
gun doesn't fire once, so you just throw it at him.
Click.
You can always hit him with it.
So this is kind of a tangent, but it reminds me. I read recently about this battle. That
Oh, our
happened.
first tangent.
the first trebuchet that they built. Like, they had to build it on site because they couldn't figure out how to move it once they built it. So they built it, tore it down, and then moved it. And then when they got to the battle, the people in the castle fucking gave up. They're like, oh shit, look at that thing. Like, we're fucking, we give up. And they didn't have to fight. And then the dude was like, hell no, we brought this all the way here. And
We're going to use it.
yeah, he sent them back in, finished building it, then fucked them up.
Really?
Yeah. You should look that battle up. It's fucking incredible.
Here's a tangent to your tangent. America did that with the nuke.
That's right. Well, we did drop the nuke, though.
You know, but see,
Oh, yeah,
here's the
like,
thing.
We built this thing, and they're
So-
like, we give up. No,
So-
just kidding.
So Truman didn't know about the bomb before he became president.
Okay.
He was vice president. Nobody told him about any of it.
Sure. Super secret.
He had no idea.
Right.
So he becomes president. They're like, okay, so we have this mega bomb. And he's like, oh, shit, we got to do that. Meanwhile, the Japanese are like trying to surrender to us through Russian contacts, Soviet contacts at the time, for 3 months. They're like, we would please like to surrender, please. And he goes, nah, man, we built these bombs, we're going to use them. So he dropped them both on Japan. And the reason he didn't accept their surrender was he said, like, no, Emperor Hirohito, your living deity, needs to be taken out of power. Not moving on that. do it and he knew they wouldn't do it because he's their living deity. That's like if the Japanese came to us and said, okay, you want to surrender, you got to give up Jesus.
Or the
Basically.
or the internet.
Yeah.
The world's first trebuchet.
So here's the thing. He nukes Japan, right? And then they surrender, and he let Hirohito stay in power. The one thing that he was asking for in order to let them surrender. So it was all bullshit. And Harry S. Truman is a war criminal.
It's when he became president. Psych.
Harry S. Truman built the first nuclear trebuchet.
Yeah,
Wow.
Japan's like weird flex, but okay.
We
surrender.
Atomic trebuchet. That's my favorite story.
I love that trebuchet story though, because
really
the
good.
thing is, like, I can picture them like looking out and like, I don't know what the fuck they're building, but it looks scary.
Like, what the fuck is that? We give up. He's like, hell no, give me a minute.
Hell no.
We rolled this shit here from all the way over there
They send the head of the guy that came out to surrender.
on the trebuchet.
Yeah.
Shit.
There's a note in his mouth that says, okay, now you can surrender.
We're out of rocks. Y'all can give up now.
What if it backfired though? What if they surrendered and they're like, no, I'm using this. And they're like, that's not that scary.
Then they pick up arms.
We thought it was a lot worse. Let's go get him.
Turn on the trebuchet.
Through this throng of humanity, Gandalf wades, trying to organize the men into a formal phalanx to resist the onslaught and to retreat in an orderly way. Exterior, outside the breach, day gloom. Eomer gallops into the circle of horsemen. He leaps from his mount and lands at Theoden's side.
Who was Aemir?
I don't think it was me. I'm
Oh,
Denethor.
Who is he? Am I giving him a good voice? What is it?
He's
Eomer
Theoden's
is
son,
Theoden's son.
right?
He was Carl Urban.
Oh, father, father. He tries so hard when he acts.
I love Carl Urban.
Yeah, he goes so hard.
I would be best friends with him.
We build trebuchets
He would have no
together.
say in it. Denethor is writhing on the ground, ranting crazily. Remember, Denethor is not harmed.
Yeah.
My son! My son! The Dark Lord took him, and soon he will take us all. Pluck us all from these vain efforts of war.
Oh, can I do a weird reread on that?
Go ahead.
Can you do it super theatrically, like he's still pretending to die, but like super Shakespearean, like
My son!
Yeah, do
My
that.
son!
Overact it. Yeah.
The Dark Lord took him, and soon he will take us all. Pluck us all from these vain efforts of war.
That was way better.
I liked it. It
Yeah,
was good.
see? It was
Better.
good. It was good. That was
And the
better.
people in the cheap seats could hear you. Pippin cradles Merry in his arms.
Death! All this death! Pippin, how is death in the Shire? I can't remember.
Pippin strains to remember. Death in the Shire? The hobbits die. Oh, yes. Remember Sam's great uncle? Merry nods. He became overripe and fell out from being there into fireside stories. Merry swoons away, but with a smile on his face. Eomer's head is buried in his father's chest. Theoden stirs, and his hand drifts feebly to his head. His trembling fingers draw the crown from his wispy white hair and drop it weakly onto Eomer's head. Then he dies in a spasm. Perfect musical cue. Thank you, iPad. Eomer rises. The riders cheer, while tears run down their cheeks. Hail Eomer, King of Rohan!
Yeah.
We rehearsed this. Eomer leaps onto his horse. His tears give way to anger as he acknowledges the homage of the riders. Exterior, battlements of Minas Tirith. Day gloom. The clamor of horrified cries rises from the walls. Far to the right, winding across a hillock and approaching Minas Tirith, is a monstrous snake, perhaps 100 yards long.
Wow.
This is a larger than average snake.
That's a larger than average
You
snake.
got something against big snakes?
After we just saw the fucking battle with pregnant women, like with kids on their tits and shit, and it's like, oh, and a bigger snake. Woo!
I've got to fight the battle, but little Billy's hungry.
I hope we don't run into a larger than normal snake.
Children scream, and the elders fall to their knees in despair, just at the sight of the snake.
Yeah, they just drove fucking troll orcs and shit, like spitting fire out of their fucking mouths, like, ah!
Oh, big snake! Somebody called John Voight.
Babies.
I was gonna
Little
say
just babies.
I was gonna say Arnold. I'll chop the head off of it.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's what Neville Longbottom would do.
I was a Conan fan,
Fucking
man. Like,
nerds.
yeah.
Exterior, the gates. Big gloom. Fuck you, Siri. Big gloom.
Big gloom.
A shudder of horror trembles through the people of Minas Tirith. Gandalf is at the gates organizing the retreat. The orcs react to the calls of despair with brutish joy. Gandalf rears up on Shadowfax. He is perplexed by the sight of the snake. So are we all! Exterior.
Wow.
Outside the breach. Day gloom. Éomer is standing on his saddle watching the snake move through the orc encampments and his own troops responding to it with dismay. He drops down into the saddle, his face flushed and reckless. He calls out to his men.
Before we drown in a sea of orcs, let the riders of Rohan slay this monster snake and avenge the death of our king.
The snake didn't kill the king.
He just... That line was hard to read.
His men rally as he rides into the orcs. His ferocity opens a path and the riders break through the orc lines. The orcs pile up in front of the riders and press in from the sides. The riders hack and swashbuckle a way through. I have never seen swashbuckle used as a verb.
Just swashbuckling through here.
Their progress growing ever slower. Some of the riders are forced to dismount, and they use their horses to kick at the enemy.
There's a button on these horses. Just
Yeah.
It's like kicking.
Oh shit! Kick the snake!
But they are closer to the snake now as it twists ever nearer. It's...
The no-handed, no weaponized, unmagical, big fucking snake that's 100 feet long.
300 feet long.
No, it's not. Was it 300?
I said 100 yards.
Yeah, that's 300 feet.
Oh my god, you can just stab it anywhere.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be near the head. You could be 300 feet away from the fucking head and just be stabbing the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's not. It's only really effective in like a cave.
It's got a fucking this
Yeah,
much
that's a really good
terrifying
point.
thing.
You can hurt it, and it has like 20 minutes before it can get over to hurt you.
Yeah.
Fuck this snake. Just ride a
Just
football
start
field
slicing it from the tail.
Yeah.
right
forward.
up, right up to the fucking head. Just
like a carrot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice and right. Curl your fingers in. Just at the tail.
Suddenly, wait, but they are closer to the snake now as it twists ever nearer. It seems that Éomer will not break through. The orcs have brought the riders to a standstill. Suddenly, the snake disintegrates. It breaks up into sections, each part living and moving.
Oh, this isn't good.
The enormous head collapses, and out of it breaks a great white banner with a tree embossed on it. The snake was made of warriors, their shields painted and held over their heads, forming the stripes and shape of a snake. As the snake disintegrates, the warriors run cheering to Éomer's aid. Éomer can scarcely believe his eyes. Despair becomes elation. The orcs are forced to turn from the riders as they are attacked from behind.
Hey, Omer.
You have a line. You gotta stand up.
fuck? What the fuck was any of that? That was the line, right? No hope was our last hope.
Fade out.
That puts us right at an hour for this episode. I figure that's a good point. We'll finish with the... So it's like a marching band, right? You know how marching bands form all those big... But it's a snake. And even all the orcs were like, yeah, our giant snake that we didn't know about is here. What the fuck?
But then let me read this again. Y'all talk. I gotta read this again.
Oh, you're doing it in your head. Sorry, I thought...
The snake was made of warriors.
The snake's made of warriors,
Their
Joe.
shield painted and held over their
And they're
heads.
warriors of Gondor, judging from the white tree on their banner.
The snake would only work if you were above it.
Yeah, like if you were on the ground, you'd see
You
their
just
little
see a
feet.
bunch of dudes with their fucking shield. The fuck is that?
Maybe they.
It's like a marching band. You have to be up high to see the
Yeah,
shape
but why
they're
did the
making.
orcs not fuck with it?
What?
Like,
A football-sized filled snake?
Okay, you remember the Hobbit movies? How the dwarves would form like balls of dwarves and roll.
Yeah.
It's like that, I guess, because this is as bad as the Hobbit.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody was looking at the ball being like, wow, a giant orb. They were like, wow, that's a ball of dwarves. These people were completely fooled that this was a fucking snake, a living snake.
everybody in the castle was like, "We're gonna die because there's snakes."
Oh, it's just 300 people.
Nobody had heard about this tactic ever before either. Like, it's brand new. They're like,
Hey guys, what if we formed into a giant snake? The
They're
orcs
like-
wouldn't even recognize us.
This will never work.
Whoa,
This will
whoa!
never work.
What do you mean? Like the Trojan horse? No, like Voltron.
Like a Voltron snake.
Like a real snake.
You be some
So
scale.
when Voltron's forming into a snake, what do they say? Because, you know, they're like, forming left leg. So they're like, forming tail, forming more tail.
Long body.
And then Keith's like, and I'll form the head.
No hope was our last hope.
What does that line mean?
It just sounded fucking cool when they wrote it down. It was like, that sounds cool. They just got bamboozled by a giant snake. It turned out to be men.
So this is the day they decided to write while taking a whole bunch of mescaline.
Episode 9s are fucking wild. I don't know why you stop at 8.
Episode 9, the giant snake bamboozle.
Black Snake Moan.
Oh, that's a good one.
So, hey everybody, let me turn off this script. We don't need that anymore. Fuck off, script.
Dude, stop reading ahead.
Yeah, they were probably reading ahead.
I'm looking
Got
at
half a
you,
page here.
Sam.
You assholes. Oh, I forgot where the camera was. I'm
Can't
looking-
they download the script?
Sean looked directly at us and was like, you assholes.
Guys.
I hate those guys.
Hey Josh, where can people find you on the internet?
Me at joshuajbaker.com. I'm doing a whole hell of a lot more video stuff right here. Yeah. I'm actually,
It's hard, isn't it? Like, you
It's
want it to be a
backwards.
mirror
It's
image so you can
backwards,
see
yeah.
what you're
So,
doing.
You can see some of my Vimeo stuff. I actually got a whole bunch of new stuff gonna be going up here soon, and probably the next episode I'll update that shit. But yeah, reach
Great.
out, do some video stuff.
Yeah, he does video stuff.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
And you can find me at www.wikipedia.com/trebuchet.
It's wikipedia.org, idiot.
No, I got the other one.
For anywhere that you could want to find table reads, go right here to Linktree/table reads. And it has everywhere that we are on the internet. You can just click. You can go to our Patreon.
Do that.
So you can experience our live streams. Just for giving us, you know, a few bucks a month or whatever.
Yeah, you can watch me. for a
We
few
are
hours.
108 episodes into providing you free entertainment. Who else has provided 110 hours probably of free entertainment? Lots of people, that's who. But Nobody's giving us money for it, so help us out. Come on.
But they normally get bad around that many episodes.
I
We're-
need some
we're
more
still
dill
good.
pickle peanuts.
We
Those are the
started
main
bad, and then we had a bad middle, and now we're pushing through bad. That's the
Incredible.
whole premise of the podcast.
Since I've gotten
Everything
here-
is bad.
Since I've gotten here, I've enjoyed this podcast 100%.
I say everything is bad, except for Preacher and Roger Rabbit 2. Those were great scripts.
Hey, those are good scripts.
So, yeah, go to there, find all the stuff. Like and subscribe, please, wherever you are experiencing this, whether it's YouTube or iTunes or Stitcher. Subscribe, like us, and tell your friends. That's it for us. We'll see you next week for an unprecedented part 10
Oh,
of this script.
double digits, Sean.
Double digits!
on.
Holy shit! Now, if we can wrap this up at episode 11, then it will symbolize one episode for each member of the Fellowship of the Ring.
But it's also your first. It's your first triple digit episodes that you went a double digit script.
Holy shit!
Wow.
We gotta read something short next time. A little palate cleanser.
Yeah.
So that's it for us. We will see you next week. And until then, we will miss you.
This podcast was created by Sean McBee. For more, visit TableReadsPodcast.com. Cut to black.